The President has been clear about one thing from the very beginning, is that he will be here, his entire administration will be here until the job is done. The people of this town, of this region, deserve no less. That's because in this country, we don't simply leave communities to pick up the pieces alone when a disaster strikes. We have shown that we come together as a nation across partisan and geographic lines, and we stand together. We stand up tall, and we stand together. We've accomplished a lot. If you'd asked me 10 months ago whether we'd be as far along as we are today, I would have said no. But every member of this community has stood up and been counted as part of this recovery. We've got a lot more work to do. Much remains to be done. It is time for us to finish this job together. And I know, working with the governor, with the congressman, with the mayors, all of you here today, we will not stop until every family is back in their homes and we have recovered from this storm. Thank you all for your work. Thank you for the leadership.
That's what I'm asking. All right, we have time for a few questions. Complain then.
Two more.
Governor, it seems like the buyout program here is ahead of the pace for New York. Is there a message there about others moving things along more quickly? And also for the whole Eastern Seaboard, is there a message there that folks need to rethink about building so close to the ocean?
Well, yes, I'll let Shaun deal with some of that as well. But I just say this: I can't make an assessment of what's going on in New York, and certainly wouldn't critique the efforts of Governor Cuomo and Mayor Bloomberg. They're doing a fine job and working very hard. I think you have a real appetite here, especially in communities like Sayreville and South River and South Amboy, for a buyout program. They have been repeatedly flooded over time. And so I think part of the reason for the pace on this is I heard that loud and clear from literally the first day I went to Sayreville, which was a couple of days after the storm, where people said, please get us out of here. Help us get out. We can't take it anymore. And so it was an early focus of mine with the Secretary to help develop a buyout program. We worked with the DEP and with HUD and the other people in the task force, and we got on it right away because I heard that from folks literally in the first week afterwards. So now I can't make an assessment on that. As far as the building, I think I've said all along these are local decisions to make in terms of the building. The standards will be standards that are going to be defined by the FEMA flood maps and what's going to be required in order for people to get flood insurance and do all the rest of that. But in terms of decisions, we said all along we're not going to be using aggressive government action like eminent domain to remove people from those areas. Every one of the people that are in the buyout program are there voluntarily because they've made the decision that they want to move to another part of the state because of the repetitive flooding and the home they're in at the time. So we're going to continue to run our program that way, but even with that being a voluntary program, we've had enormous response to the program, and I'm very happy about the way DEP has run it along with HUD. We're moving along really quickly. We're going to have closings of purchasing homes in Sayreville, over 100 of them, before the one-year anniversary of this storm. People will be back out of their homes with a check to be able to go buy a home someplace else. I think that's a really good project.
Look, having walked through neighborhoods in Iowa and on the Gulf Coast where buyouts are happening, it was 3.5 years after Katrina that the president came into office, and I will tell you, there was much less progress in many areas on buyouts than we've seen here in 10 months. So I'm very encouraged by the progress that the governor's made. I'm encouraged by the progress that's being made in Staten Island and in other communities as well across the region. One other thing I would just say here, look, it is enormously important that we get this right in terms of rebuilding. And there's been a lot of focus on this buyout issue. And there are areas where the danger is just too great. And I think the governor has been very strong on this, and I'm appreciative of his leadership. It's also true that we can live safely along most of the shore. And a lot of what the report is focused on is how do we elevate homes, how do we protect homes, and Hoboken's a good example where you're not going to elevate brick row houses. So there are other innovative strategies that we need to take, and there are lots of recommendations on the flood insurance program in the report and other things that we can do as a federal government to better support protecting our communities and our homes, short of buyouts as well. So I think it's important that we focus on the balance here, that we can live safely on the shore in the vast majority of areas. We just have to do it in the right way.
And I have one more thing that the Secretary brought up, the flood insurance program, and I think that's been a source of real frustration for people in this state. And we've worked hard with Secretary Napolitano, who is the cabinet member that's in charge of the National Flood Insurance Program. But I know that I've gotten dozens and dozens of complaints. I know the Congressman has gotten those as well. We need to really, and that's why I'm happy the task force has taken on the issue of flood insurance. I think we need to have a complete re-examination of that because it's not working as well as it should. It's certainly not working as well as the homeowners insurance has been working in this state. And so we need to take a look at that intelligently and try to make sure that as we funded the flood insurance program so it would have the money to be able to pay out the claims. We need to make sure that those claims are being paid out well, in a competitive way, making sure that folks are getting what they deserve for the premiums that they paid. And going forward, is this really the best way to deal with it? And I think, I'm glad that the task force has decided to take on that issue and examine it. And I know we'll have a lot to say from New Jersey's experience about it. And I'm sure Shaun has heard about this from New York as well. So we're going to continue to work on that. It's a big thing.